From niche podcasting adventures to embracing limitless opportunities, Danny Brown's journey is an inspiration to all podcasters seeking success. Welcome to Into the Podverse.
Pretty sure it's Techzilla.
Hey, I'm Danny Brown of 1 Minute Podcast Tips, and you're listening to Into the Podverse with Tony Daw.
Before I start the show, let me share some exciting news with you. The Association of African Podcasters and Voice Artists, APVA, or APVA, is proud to present the APVA Awards 2023. The main goal is simple but powerful: to acknowledge and celebrate the remarkable achievements of African voice talents. Last year's event was a resounding success with over 2,200 nominations and 70,000 votes, a testament to the talent thriving within the African audio creative community. This year we're back with an even grander vision. The theme for the awards is Voices of the Future. It's an ode to the boundless potential and innovation that lies ahead in the world of audio creativity. So save the date, September 23rd, 2023, for the second African Podcast and Voice Awards. Join us as we celebrate these extraordinary voices that continue to shape the African storytelling landscape. For more information, visit apva.africa. That's apva.africa. The year was 2017 when Danny Brown first dabbled in podcasting, initially just for fun. However, the newfound passion quickly consumed him, and soon enough he was an ardent podcaster, dedicating himself to the art form.
I'd been podcasting for a few years. My first podcast episode was way back in 2009, but it was only one episode on one show, so I'm not sure if that counts. So I've really been podcasting since 2017, so 6 years, I guess. And I've always been into podcasting, loved it, and really, just really love the medium.
Among the many podcast hosting platforms available, Captivate stood out for Danny. Its user-friendly interface and robust features spoke directly to his podcaster's heart. Having been a Captivate customer for a year before joining the team, Danny's connection to the platform and its enthusiastic community of podcasters was palpable.
So I'd been a Captivate customer for a year before I joined the team, and I just loved the platform and the features it had. It just spoke to me as a podcaster, and they've got a private Facebook group just for Captivate users. So I've been very active in that and helping other Captivate users, get used to the new features and really how to use the platform. And when I saw Captivate advertising for a sport and experience person, I thought, I'm going to throw my hat in. I know the team, like not personally, but I know the team. I think the team knew me from the Facebook group, obviously. And it seemed like a really good company, a well-run company with genuine people that wanted to help podcasters succeed. So it seemed like a great fit. So I reached out to Mark, the co-founder, and just put my hat in the ring. Says I'd love to speak to you about the upcoming role. And so we got chatting. I got chatting with Mark, Kieran, and Sam while Sam was still working there. She left to have a little baby, and they're doing awesome. So I got to meet the team and we had a chat, and it was really informal. And it paved the way for what was to come from just being such a really cool company to work for. So being in the industry with Captivate, with my role now as head of podcaster support and experience, taking over from the aforementioned Sam when she left to have a little girl. It's just been awesome. Every day we do something new, and I know that sounds cliche, etc., but it's true. We do something new every day. We help a different podcaster every day. It's just a great feeling knowing that you've got a tool set that you can give to podcasters that can use it for their own goals, whether that's saving time in production, making it super easy to experiment with shows because you can have as many shows as you want on there, monetizing, etc. So it's just like a really cool thing to be part of.
Danny candidly shares the challenges that all podcasters encounter, the uphill battle of growing their show. Unlike some misguided advice that claims publishing an episode is enough for success, Danny stresses the importance of marketing, promotion, and patience in this long game of podcasting.
I think every podcaster goes through this, regardless of your expertise, how long you've been in the industry, whether you're starting your first podcast, your 10th podcast, or whatever. There's a lot of challenges in growing a show. And I think a lot of podcasters have been given bad advice where they're told to just publish your episode, put it on your website, and people will come and listen to it. And while we'd all love that to be true, it's not. Creating a podcast is just a small part of the overall experience. Then you've got to market it, promote it, really work at growing awareness around your episodes. So I feel like probably the biggest challenges is growing your show from new. And I know there's a problem with Podfade where podcasters maybe look at their analytics and it's not making them money, or it's not getting the downloads that they want to have, or it's not getting them extra subscribers, etc. And unfortunately, that's the wrong way to think about it. Yes, podcasters would love to make more money. Podcasters would love to have more listeners and more downloads, but it is a long game. And you'll find that the most successful podcasters are the ones that understand we're not going to put out a new podcast or a new episode, etc., and immediately get 10,000 downloads, for example, or $1,000 a month sponsorship money, etc. So it's very much a long game, and you have to really have an idea and have a plan how you're going to grow your podcast and what tools you're going to use to do that. Are you going to use social media, newsletter? Are you going to use video? Are you going to use X, Y, Z? So it's very much a long plan. And at Captivate, we have a whole bunch of tools in our growth labs that helps you with that, for example. So I think the main problem is getting started is the easy part. I mean, okay, it's not the easy part. It still takes a lot to actually create a podcast and get it out the door. But that's the easy part once it's done. The next part is obviously growing it and continuing to grow it, and not just putting a shared episode out on Twitter, for example, and then that's it, forget about it.
As a diehard Arsenal fan, Danny's support for the team has instilled in him a sense of patience, a trait he carries into his podcasting journey. While his fandom hasn't directly influenced his podcasting path, Danny acknowledges the lessons learned from supporting a team with its own ups and downs, similar to the slow build of success in podcasting.
I don't think it's influenced. I don't think being an Arsenal fan's influenced my podcasting journey. Maybe it's given me more patience because we've had to wait a long time as Gunners for success. I know we won the FA Cup in Arteta's first season, but I feel we were already on that path anyway. But for real, proper success in the league, and especially in Europe, it's been a while. So I think maybe being a podcaster, and as I mentioned, being a successful podcaster is all about the long game and patience and building up and building on, slow successes and that. I feel that's very much an Arsenal fan, or any football fan, I guess. But for me, for an Arsenal fan, it's watching other teams like Man United, like Man City, like Chelsea, like Newcastle recently. They've obviously got the funding, but they've got the boards and the managers, or mostly anyway, to make it a long-term plan. And I've always felt that Arsenal were missing that until Edu and Arteta and this project that we're on. So yeah, I'm going to go with patience.
Danny's awareness of the African podcasting community's immense potential has grown since our last conversation. Yes, I was a guest on the show a while ago. The link's in the show notes. He believes technology plays a pivotal role in unlocking opportunities for African podcasters, ensuring accessibility and stable internet connectivity with tailored podcast hosting features could bolster the thriving creativity within the African podcasting landscape.
Well, I think it's huge, Tony. I know we spoke about it again when you were on my show. We spoke about this and the opportunities, and you gave me some really good insights into the opportunities for the African podcast ecosystem. And I know, especially with your own background, what you see and what you'd like to see happen with the ecosystem in Africa. It reminds me in a way of the Canadian podcast scene. I feel like the Canadian podcasting scene has been sort of riding a little bit on the coattails of the US podcasting scene. And I say that with the utmost respect. I don't mean that the Canadian podcasters have been, jumping on the glory of the US podcasters, for example. It just feels that because there's such a close locale, there's more opportunities and more companies are getting involved in the Canadian podcasting scene. And I feel the African podcasting scene is very similar to that. at the moment, where there's a huge community of podcasters and voice actors and creators within the industry that are now seeing the opportunity there. You've got communities like Afterpods, for example, that are doing amazing stuff for the African community. And you're seeing the African Podcast and Voice Awards that's so well produced and really showcases the great work that podcasters and voice actors and creators are doing in Africa. So I know when we spoke, I think I mentioned this actually, where I feel that the only sort of thing that's maybe holding the African community back at the moment, or the African podcasting community at the moment, is maybe the technology. I know you've mentioned it before, Tony, where a lot of companies, Rode for example, don't really ship products to Africa, or if they do, it's very price prohibitive. And I feel companies need to address that and make, internet more stable, for example, or podcasters. I know podcasting companies are now offering where they've got different versions of their show, so you can download a lower resolution, if you like, not a lower quality, a lower bandwidth version of the episode that makes it more accessible for rural areas, for example, to access podcasts and to upload their own episodes. So I feel that might be the next big thing, is companies providing more for the African podcasting community, and the technology being available to put African podcasting on a par, at least technology-wise. There's no question it's on a par when it comes to creativity. But from a production point of view, from a technology point of view, I feel there's an opportunity there, which is a huge opportunity, especially for the amount of podcasters that are in Africa and are bringing out amazing shows as highlighted by your awards last year. So I think there's an awesome opportunity there.
Unafraid of exploring unconventional topics, Danny embarked on a podcast series about an old gaming console, reminiscing about the rise and fall of a promising platform. Inspired by his project's success, he's eager to delve into other niche subjects, all with captivating stories of their own.
It's funny, I actually did a podcast as an experiment about a year, maybe 18 months ago or so, called Memories of 3DO. And that was about an old gaming console that I used to have back in the mid-90s, 95, 96, just before the Sega Saturn and Sony PlayStation came out. And basically, it was just like a short mini-series that looked in the rise and fall of this 3DO platform. And it should have been huge. It was like, it had everything ready to be huge. It had massive backing from Panasonic, for example. It had the founder of Electronic Arts involved. It was a multimedia system. It could play CDs. It could play back videos. It was CD-ROM. It was 32-bit, which was like double the current generation of consoles. But unfortunately, it launched with a really big price and a bad marketing plan. So it was a shame. There's some good games in that. I'm a video gamer, so I'm considering doing other series like that for, say, Dreamcast, for example, or the old Virtual Boy that Nintendo brought out. Just like the weird ones that Atari Jaguar, for example, the weird ones that could have made it but didn't for whatever reason, Sega Dreamcast. So yeah, I mean, I definitely want to do something like that. I've asked my son if he wanted to get involved, because he's also a big video gamer, but he's a YouTuber as well, or he wants to be a YouTuber. So I kind of asked him if he wants to be involved and maybe create something. He hasn't agreed yet, but we'll see. But yeah, I'd love to do some geek stuff. I mean, Mark from Captivate and Gary, they have a Star Wars show, so they've got some cool stuff on. Mark's just releasing a new show about classic movies and classic pop culture movies and comic books, etc., that are a certain age now. And the premise is, we can't believe that this show or this movie or this book or whatever is now 25 years old or 30 or 40 years old. It just seems like yesterday when it first came out. So yeah, I'd love to do something like that. So stay tuned.
With platforms like Captivate, coupled with the dedication of podcasters like Danny Brown leading the way, podcasters have access to the tools they'll need to thrive and grow their shows. Whether you're a seasoned podcaster or just starting out, Danny's story reminds us that success in podcasting lies in the journey itself, a journey of creativity, innovation, and unwavering commitment. So take inspiration from Danny Brown's remarkable experience and embark on your own podcasting adventure, and who knows, you might find yourself making a positive impact on the podcasting community, just like he did.
Pretty sure it's Texas Zilla.
Of course it is. Who you think it was? Hey yo, eagle eye view from the Kilimanjaro. Way above the clouds with my eye on the sparrow. What's past the air, invading your space. Sneak in through your ears, change the look on your face. The storyteller in this digital era. Could tell I got my groove back like my name was Stella. The vibe is stellar, but the message and the teller intertwining, defining the era. To those who oppose, I hereby propose a fist to the jaw, would you prefer the nose? As the story goes, everybody knows Mr. Tony Yo, come correct with the flow. Hey yo, as the God podcaster, erstwhile known as the chief broadcaster, here to bring the peace to the world over. Haters can't connect, best to move over.